these two exercises. How many of you tried? Okay, right. Now we go to the next concept called norm of a function. What is a norm? Norm is the inner product of the function with itself. See, in the previous slide, we have seen the inner product of two different functions. So f of x is a function, g of x is a function. And we wanted to find out the inner product of f of x and g of x. What is a function? Function is a mathematical rule by which two numbers can be related. It may be an algebraic function, a logarithmic function, an exponential function, a trigonometric function. Now, if you find out the inner product of a function with itself in the given interval, it is called a norm of a function. See, it is integral, the given interval a to b, f star dx, the function with itself. Now, for example, I want to find out the norm of the function a plus ib. So, f star is a complex conjugate, which is a minus ib. So, the norm is integral 1 to 2 between the limits 1 to 2, a minus ib, a plus ib dx. So, this is x minus y, x plus y, which is equal to x square minus y square. But when you put a minus here, it becomes I square b square, where I square is minus 1. So minus of minus plus. So we get integral 1 to 2 a square plus b square dx. So a square plus b square can be taken out. It is simply integral 1 to 2 dx. So when you integrate, it is x 1 to 2. So when you apply the upper limit and the lower limit, you are getting a square plus b square. So the a square plus b square is the norm of the function a plus ib, because we have found out the inner product of the function with itself. Now you find out, now we are trying for another function. See, f of x is equal to cos x minus I sin x within the interval a comma b. So f star of x is the complex conjugate cos x plus I sin x. So norm is inner product of the function with itself. So a to b the limit cos x plus I sin x, cos x minus I sin x dx. So again it is a plus b, a minus b, a square plus b square, a plus minus b square. But because of the I, it becomes minus I square sine square theta. Minus I square is minus 1. Therefore, it becomes a plus. So it is a cos square plus a sine square dx. So cos square x plus a sine square x is 1. So it is integral a to b dx. So when it is when dx is integrated, it is simply x a to b, and you are applying the upper limit and the lower limit. It is b minus a is the norm of the function. So norm of the function is the inner product of a function with itself, where the function is the mathematical rule by which two numbers can be related. So the norm of this function is b minus a. Now find out the norm of the function f of x equal to e power I mx over a range of interval 1 comma 2. Look here. So norm is equal to integral 1 to 2 e power imx into e power minus imx. I have taken the complex conjugate. So you know ex dot ey means ex plus y. So it becomes e0 dx. So e0 value is 1. So it is integral 1 to 2 dx, which is equal to x 1 to 2. So which is equal to 2 minus 1, which is 1. If you get the norm 1, then the function is called a normalized function. If you get a norm 1, it is called a normalized function. Look here, in next slide you will understand. So normalized function is the one whose norm is equal to unity. Suppose if a function is not normalized, you can normalize the function by dividing the original function by the square root of norm. Then you will get a normalized function. Say for example, in the previous exercise, here we have seen cos x minus I sin x. The norm is b minus a. Now what I am doing, I am taking the same function and I divide it by square root of the norm and I am trying to find out the norm of the function. Let me see what happens. So integral a to b f star dx. What is f? Cos x minus I sin x divided by square root of b minus a dot cos x plus I sin x divided by square root of b minus a. This is the complex conjugate f star dx. So when I multiply these two things, the numerator becomes a cos square x plus sin square x. The denominator becomes this, here is a square root, here is a square root, therefore it becomes b minus a, which can be taken out. So what you are getting here is again integral dx, which is equal to 1 by b minus a x a to b. So 1 by b minus a into upper limit minus lower limit. So you are getting b minus a by b minus a equal to 1. So our formula is all right. So the original function divided by square root of norm will give you a normalized function. This is actually what is called the normalization procedure. Why we are normalizing a function? The answer is here. And before that, you should understand, if two functions, their inner product is 0, it is called orthogonal function. Orthogonal function in three directions is integral minus infinity to plus infinity, integral minus infinity to plus infinity, integral minus infinity to plus infinity. They are in three different directions: x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. So psi of j, x, y, z, psi I, x, y, z, one is with the complex conjugate. Instead of dx, dy, dz, they are all put together as a small volume element d tau, which is equal to 0. This is quantum mechanical representation of orthogonality of functions in all three directions. Suppose if a function is normal, it is normalized, and two functions are orthogonal, and each function is normalized, then these functions are called orthonormal functions. Look here. Suppose the psi 1 triple integral integrated thrice in three directions with the d tau is equal to 1. And there is a psi 2, which is also, when it is integrated thrice in three directions, about a d tau is 1. It is a normalized function. This is also a normalized function. But when you take the inner product of these two functions, you get 0, means these two functions are called orthonormal functions. They are normalized individually and which are normal to each other, which are orthogonal to each other, which is called orthonormal functions. Now look here. The orthonormal condition can be represented by a delta called Kronecker delta. See, this Kronecker delta ij will be equal to 1 when the function is normalized, which means the function I is j. Therefore, when I is equal to j, Kronecker delta value is 1. If I is not equal to j, this is a function, this is of a different function. They are orthogonal. It is equal to 0. This is called the Kronecker delta, which represents orthonormality of a functions. Now, look here. This is the function again. The same thing is written, and the normal function, normalized function, the psi square d tau is called the probability density of a wave function. See, in atomic structure, we are speaking about the orbital. Orbital is a three-dimensional boundary in which the probability of finding the electron is maximum. That probability, what you are discussing, is actually coming from here. It is integral psi square d tau, where psi is the description of the system, where psi square is the probability density of the system, where the system is actually present. So why a function has to be normalized? In order to make the inner product of the function with itself unity, because when you integrate between minus infinity to plus infinity, it has to be 1. It has to be normalized in the small volume element d tau. So the psi star has to be 1 for the existence of the particle between the limits minus infinity to plus infinity. That is why we are normalizing a function. And another important idea is odd function or anti-symmetric function, even function or symmetric function. Odd function is when you change the sign of the x, if the entire system changes its sign. Say for example, f of x is equal to x3, x power cube, x power 3. This is a function. If you substitute minus x in the place of x, the entire equation becomes minus. Similarly, sin x, f of x is equal to sin x. If you substitute minus x, the sin x becomes minus sin x. See, in the case of even function or symmetric function, if f of x is equal to x square, if you substitute minus x here, even then it is x square, it remains positive. See, in the case of odd functions, the integral value between symmetric limits will be 0. Where in the case of even functions, the integral value between symmetric limits will be some value. If you look at this graph, you can understand what is odd function and what is even function. See, for odd function, when x is plus, y is plus, because y is f of x. For when x is minus, y is also minus. But in the case of even function, when x is plus, y is plus. When x is minus, y is also minus. Sorry, y is also plus. So when x is plus, y is plus. When x is minus, even then y is plus. This is called the even function. So odd function is antisymmetric wave functions, and it is the wave functions of fermions, and it is used to find out the dipole moment, which is having its application in the IR spectrum. Whereas even functions, the symmetric wave function of bosons, and it speaks about the polarizability, and it has its application in the Raman spectroscopy. Now, quantum mechanically, what is a proper function, an acceptable function? That the function must be continuous, that function must be single valued, that the function must be finite. Another thing is operator. What is an operator? Now, what is an eigen function? Well, watch closely. If an operator is operating on a function, what is an operator? Operator is a mathematical command. Look here, in the next slide, I have explained that. No, look here. It is a symbol for certain mathematical procedure which transforms one function into another. It has no physical meaning if it is written alone. It is an operator. See, d by dx is an operator. It will operate on a function, and the function will be changed. If you write simply d by dx, it has no meaning. Similarly, here is an operator. The operator operates on this function f of x, and the function is regenerated with a constant in front of the function, with a coefficient. Such an equation is called eigenvalue equation. The constant which we are getting, the coefficient which we are getting here is called eigenvalue. Now you look here, I am taking a function e power minus ax. D by dx of e power minus ax equal to minus a comes here and e power minus ax. So e power minus ax is regenerated with a coefficient minus a. This minus a is called eigenvalue for the operator d by dx. Similarly, f of x is equal to sine ax. Now, if you differentiate this equation with respect to x once, d by dx is equal to sine a, d by dx of sine ax is equal to a cos ax, and a is missing here, a cos ax. And when the a cos ax is again differentiated, you are getting minus a square sine ax. So d square by dx square of sine ax is equal to minus a square sine ax. So the eigenvalue is minus a square. So now look here, show that sine 2x is not an eigenfunction of the operator d by dx, but of the operator d square by dx square. Find out the eigenvalue. Look here. So d by dx of sine 2x is 2 cos 2x. Then d by dx of 2 cos 2x is equal to minus 4 sin 2x. So d square by dx square of sin 2x is equal to minus 4 sin 2x. So the sin 2x is regenerated with a coefficient minus 4. This minus 4 is called eigenvalue of the equation. Now the operator. I have already explained what an operator is. Operator it is a symbol for certain mathematical procedure which transforms one function into another. It has no physical meaning if it is written alone. The linear operator. What is a linear operator? Look here, look at this function. A operator f plus j. If this is equal to A operator f plus A operator j, it is a linear function. Look here, d by dx of f of x and j of x equal to d by dx of f of x plus d by dx of j of x. This is a linear operator. If such thing cannot be done, that is a non-linear operation. Look here, square root of f plus g is not equal to square root of f plus square root of g. Next one is commutator operator. Commutator operator means if you change the sequence of operation of two operators, if you are getting the same value, that is A is an operator, B is an operator, both are operating on a function f of x. A operator, B operator f of x minus B operator, A operator f of x, if it is equal to 0, that means if A is performing its operation first, on the product, the B is performing its second operation. And if B is operating first and A is operating next, when the sequence is changed, the value is not changing means, then these two operations are called commutator operators. See, two operators do not commute if they cannot have simultaneous eigenfunctions. The mathematical statement of Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, quantum mechanical statement of Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. So these are all operators and functions.